Hello everyone and welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for the starting 11 prediction for Saturday's game at Celtic Park against Kilmarnock. Early kick-off and it's sure to be an emotional day after the passing of our finest ever captain Billy McNeill at the beginning of the week. I'm sure it'll have been an emotional week for everyone at the club, everyone involved with the club. We will have our own little tribute that will work into the content on Saturday, so stay with us for that. But we'll crack on with looking ahead to Saturday's game. After last week's disappointing 0-0 draw, I think we've got to come out all guns blazing, start really quickly in this one. I think you see the intensity that we've played with at Easter Road the last 5, 10, 15 minutes. Just when the desperation crept into the game and we realised that we really have to get a goal here. That's the kind of intensity that we should be starting games with. I don't want us to get, as we'll see when we look at Kilmarnock's form, I don't want us to be getting into this sort of 60-65 minute mark and still locked at 0-0, as we've seen against Livingston and Hibs recently, because then it starts to get a bit desperate, and obviously we haven't scored a lot of goals recently. So as you can see below, Kilmarnock were on a decent run before last weekend's 1-0 defeat to Aberdeen. They were unbeaten in their previous 6, but obviously it was a controversial defeat that they had last week. They had 3 men sent off, so they are likely to be missing some of their key players for this one, but we know what Steve Clarke's teams are like. They're very well disciplined, they don't concede a lot of goals, and as I touched on there, I think a quick start in this game is so important for us. Kilmarnock don't concede a lot of goals in the second half. I think they've only conceded 9 in all of their second half games this season, so I think that highlights the importance of getting ahead early in this game for us, really having a quick start and controlling the game, because it's so vital for us to get that early goal. Anyway, on to the team. Scott Bain in goals, another clean sheet from last week. Obviously the 0-0s aren't great results, but he's doing his job and keeping clean sheets, and they're racking up for him this season. Right back, I expect Lustig to continue. As I've said the past few weeks, Lennon seems to prefer him. We don't know what Tall Jan's place is. It seems like his 6-month loan is just going to peter out, and he'll go back to Dortmund. It's been really disappointing, but I expect Lustig to continue right back. Centre half, Christopher Ajer alongside Jozo Simunovic. Again, we could see Benkovic, although I don't expect it, because it has been Jozo and Ajer recently, so I expect those two to continue in there. And on to left back, this is a massive one for us. I just don't, I've been saying it, and we've all noticed it, we've all seen it all season, that Izagiri's he's not got it anymore. He looks very nervy. He just looks panicked every time he's got the ball. He looks unsure of how to use the ball going forward as well. A lot of passing it back inside. I thought he was below par last week. I think it shows you how much we've mismanaged that left back position, given that he's the cover for KT when he was here 7-8 years ago. So poor. I don't know if he'll continue. I think he will. I'm going to put him in there because I think that's what Neil Lennon will do. We don't know where KT's at. We know that he might need surgery. It's just a guessing game with his fitness just now. So if he is still out, I expect Izagiri to continue in there. I would maybe like to see Johnny Hayes drop back one and play in there, and then let us have Sinclair or Weah up the park. But we'll cross that position when we come to it. On to midfield, as usual, it will be Scott Brown. Alongside him, Callum McGregor, of course. Those two are absolute nailed on certainties. Alongside them last week, we seen Olivier Ntcham. I thought it was going to be Tom Rogic. And as we touched on in the content last week, it was one of the poorest performances we've seen from Olivier Ntcham. He's had real problems with consistency. There's no doubt when he plays well and he's in form, he's a great player. We can see he's got bags of potential, still in his early 20s. So much quality on the ball, but last week it was really abysmal. So again, at home we might see him continue. I think At home he plays much better than he does away from home. He's really struggled with his away form. But I'm going to put Tom Rogic ahead of Brown and McGregor, because I thought when he did come on last week, we got a lot more joy down the middle, in between the lines, in the centre of the park, which is where we caused Hibs a little bit more problems. We were going out wide a lot, we were putting a lot of crosses into the box, which number one is not what Edouard thrives off of, and number two, we don't have a lot of midfield runners arriving late in the box to attack cross balls, particularly with Ryan Christie out. So I think Rogic in there will give us much more creativity through the centre, and hopefully that can maybe create the space out wide for the wingers and let us create a little bit more chances and not resort to so many cross balls as we did at Easter Road last week. Right wing, James Forrest, no surprises with that one, of course. I thought, again, he wasn't great last week. Him and Hayes seem to switch sides a lot. Doesn't really seem to be coming off whenever they do switch sides. But Forrest, as I've said last week, my pick for Player of the Year. He'll continue at right wing. Left wing, if it is going to be Izagiri, I expect Neil Lennon to go with Johnny Hayes. Look, I think Johnny Hayes is a good player. He would be in just about every other team in the league's first 11. For us, though, I don't think he's what we need. He's not what we need to go to the next level, certainly. He's a good player. You know what his qualities are. Lots of cross balls, lots of effort, and he's physical. He's very fit, and I say he's a good player. But at this level, he's a good player, and I think for Celtic we really need to be looking to have more quality in that position, and that quality could be Scott Sinclair. Obviously, we've seen his dips in form in his time that he's been here, but he contributes with goals. Even though he's been going through sticky patches, he's still come up with goals. He's still up there and amongst our top goal scorers this season. So I think it's a strange one that we've seen since Neil Lennon's came back to just absolutely drop Sinclair and to make Johnny Hayes the nailed-on starter in there. As I say, I think he'll go with Hayes, and I don't want to labour this point too much. I expect Lennon to go with Hayes. I would like to see Sinclair. I know for the comments in the past few weeks, a lot of you would like to see Timothy Weah start. Again, I think it will be Hayes. I hope it's Sinclair, and I wouldn't mind if it was Weah. Is that good enough? And obviously up top, it will be Odsonne Edouard. I thought he should have put that chance away at the end last week. He scored so many big goals for us, particularly late on in games, but we'll forgive him for that one. 20 goals this season, given his injuries, as I said again last week, is very good. And I expect him to start this one. I think if we can get more joy through the middle of the park with Rogic, hopefully that will let Edouard get the ball into feet, let him turn and run at defenders, because that's where he's best. And hopefully he can get a lot more joy from that and get on the score sheet this week. We know there's going to be wide play and there is going to be a lot of cross balls, and maybe at home that will be better for us. But I think if we can get the ball into Edouard's feet, get him running at the Kilmarnock defence, we'll get a lot more joy than we did last week, particularly with the suspensions that Kilmarnock have in that position. That's it. Like the video, comment your own teams below. Let me know who you think will start in all the positions that seem to be up for grabs, if you like. Left back, are we going to see Izagiri continue? Will we see Ncham get another start after his performance last week? Will we see Johnny Hayes continue? Should we play Sinclair? Would you like to see Weah? Let us know all of that in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you at Celtic Park on Saturday. Thank you.